The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network presents A Self-Advocate's Guide to the Americans with Disabilities Act. Title II. What rights does Title II give me? Title II talks about state and local governments. It says what these governments have to do for people with disabilities. State governments are the people who run each state. For example, California has a state government. The government is run by their governor and state representatives. Local governments are the people who run cities and towns. For example, New York City has a local government. The government is run by the mayor and city council. The ADA gives you rights in places run by the government. For example, libraries, the post office, city hall, public transportation, like buses, trains, and subways. You have the right to go inside any place run by the government. You also have the same right to use any service run by the government. For example, you have the right to go to the library. Your local government has to make sure you can get inside. They also have to make sure you can use the library services. They have to make sure you can get books that you can read. They have to make sure librarians can help you get what you need. They have to make sure you can check out the books you want to. The ADA says governments can't discriminate against people with disabilities. The places and services the government runs must be accessible. Accessible means that people with disabilities can easily use something. We can easily get around somewhere. We feel like we belong there. How does the ADA stop discrimination from the government? The ADA says some things the government can't do. They can't stop you from doing things just because of your disability. For example, the government can't stop you from going to government meetings, stop you from using a government service, stop you from going to places run by the government, stop you from using government programs that other people use. Do anything that would discriminate against you because of your disability. The ADA says that government places and services have to be accessible. This means they have to be accessible all the time. They can't only be accessible sometimes. They can't only be accessible for some people. Non-disabled people go to places and use services. People with disabilities have the right to go to all the same places. We have the right to use all the same services. The ADA says we have the same rights as non-disabled people. The government needs to make sure we get these rights all the time. The government can't make people with disabilities go to separate places. For example, Badtown has a lot of parks. Non-disabled people go to these parks. But the government doesn't let disabled people use these parks. They make a park just for disabled people. They only let disabled people use that park. The ADA says that's against the law. We have the right to go to the same parks as everyone else. What changes can governments make to help people with disabilities? Some places and services the government runs are not accessible. The ADA says the government needs to make them accessible. So the government might have to change some things about the places they run, or they have to change some things about the services they have. That makes sure we get the same rights as everyone else. There are lots of changes governments can make to help people with disabilities. They can change some of their rules. For example, some government buildings have rules about who can come in. They want to know about every person who comes in. So they make you show them your driver's license. But some disabled people can't drive. They can't get a driver's license. So the government may change the rules for people with disabilities. The government could come up with another way to show who you are. Governments can also change their buildings to make them accessible. For example, Stairtown City Hall is up a big staircase. People with disabilities can't get in. That's against the law. So Stairtown builds a ramp up to the City Hall. Now, people with disabilities can get in. There are lots of rules about changes governments need to make. These rules help governments follow the ADA. You can find a list of these rules linked in this video's description. There are extra rules about public transportation. Some people with disabilities can't drive. Public transportation doesn't go everywhere we need to go, and public transportation might not work for us. So the government has to make public transportation that we can use. This public transportation is called paratransit. It makes sure we can get to the same places as everyone else. Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. For more information, visit our website, autisticadvocacy.org.